Okay, welcome back, students. This is Unit 1, the second part of research methods. Most of the information can be found on Myers textbook, page 26 to 37. What you're going to look at in this presentation is students should understand the different types of groups that are going to be examined in the study. Is it going to be a longitudinal study or cross-sectional study? Students should be able to differentiate the different types of research. Are they doing an experiment, correlation, survey, naturalistic observation, or case study, and with some strengths and weaknesses? Should also be able to understand how research is designed. And then last but not least, you should be able to understand the components of an experiment. So the independent, dependent variables that impact your experiment. So moving on to the first section, understanding who and what type of study it's going to be. Is it going to be a longitudinal study or cross-sectional study? Cross-sectional study is going to look at a group of people of different age groups, and you're going to look at them at one particular time. Usually these studies are quick and not expensive. However, you're looking at a different group of people and how maybe that particular situation impacts them. And people are different. So if I wanted to know the effects of coffee on somebody's memory, okay, you are looking at maybe a first grader and you're looking all the way to a high schooler. And maybe because of the age, that's going to also impact the study. And because people are different, that also might impact the study. So you're looking at an infant, maybe all the way up to somebody who is in maybe like a senior citizen. So you're looking at a bunch of different age groups when you're studying this. Longitudinal is looking at the same person for a long period of time. Longitudinal. So they follow the same group of people over a long time. Good thing is you get a lot of good data because the people are consistent and the same. The bad thing is some things may happen, like people pass away, or they get lost, or they want to drop out of the study, or it could be really expensive. So I have my niece and nephew. I'm doing a longitudinal study right now. I'm watching them develop. That's something that I'm maybe particularly paying attention to. So now that you have whether you're going to plan it to be a long period of time and on one group of people, or you're going to do it on a multiple different people, you got to decide what method you want to use. Descriptive is usually the first stages before you set up the experiment. You just want some general information. Surveys, observations, and case studies. Then maybe you notice a correlation take place between two variables, and then lastly maybe you set up the experiment. But they're all different methods of research. First one we'll look at is a naturalistic observation. Naturalistic observations are methods where subjects are observed in their natural environment. Good things, you have a little plus sign there. Good things, people might not actually act differently in their natural habitat. They forgot they were getting observed. So how I actually remember this one is I look at reality TV, okay, real world, or you're watching The Bachelor or Bachelorette. Over time, they actually forget that the cameras are rolling, and maybe they start acting like they have their natural characteristics. They did a study where they wanted to know the different language, whether it's positive, negative language of a teenager, so they recorded them for 3 months, and every so often they'd turn the recording device on, and they were able to get a projection on what type of language most teenagers use. Over time, kids forget that they had that on. Adults would forget. Okay, negative here, people may act differently though. This is known as the Hawthorne effect. So in the 1930s and 40s, the researcher Henry A. Landsberg was doing a study on the productivity in terms of if there's the amount of light an individual is exposed to. So if there's more light, people are more productive. Okay, and he went away from that experiment, and he noticed a couple of years later, 1950s, he started looking at that, where once the researchers went away from the factory, the Hawthorne factory, productivity started decreasing just in general. And so what he started putting together was maybe it's not so much the light, but maybe it is the amount of whether or not you're being watched is going to increase your productivity. So that does impact me. I know when somebody's standing over me, I start acting differently. I turn bright red and I get nervous. Okay, maybe a teacher standing over you, all of a sudden your behavior is not going to change because somebody's watching you. So that is a negative of a naturalistic observation. Case study is another method. Okay, it's where you're examining one group or one subject in depth for a long period of time. The good thing is you get a lot of information. The bad thing is, just because it works maybe particularly on one person or one small group of people, it doesn't mean it's going to it's going to work for everybody. So the Chromebooks is a great example of a case study that may particularly being done. Just because it works at Lyme doesn't mean it's going to work for every single school. And the last one to take a look at is survey. Survey is a research method where questions are asked to subjects and they report their answers. The good thing is you get a ton of data at once. I want to know whether or not computers are working in the school. You can send out a survey. Bad thing is sometimes the wording of the survey can skew the data. You don't understand the question. Or people often lie. Yeah, it works. You just want to get it done. Or people don't return the surveys. So some terms to keep in mind when you're looking at surveys is the wording effect. Sometimes the way it is worded, people can get confused and that can skew the data. So people are more willing to approve things that say not allowing than forbidden. Okay, so a national survey was done. Here's some wording effects. Where 27% of Americans approve government censorship. So not a lot of people approved it because it was censorship. On the media, well, when it says 66% of Americans approved when it said more restricted. So people were more accepting of that terminology. Same survey. People don't approve words like never. And a lot of people don't like welfare. Okay, they'd rather select something that it was like helping people in poverty. Other terms to consider is population. When you're surveying a group of people, you want a representative sample of your population. This is all the cases of the group were studied from which the sample is drawn. So if I want to know if Chromebooks are working for Lyme High School, I can't just survey the senior class. I'd have to send it out to freshmen, sophomores, juniors, seniors, faculty, teachers. Okay, so it's got to go out to more than just that small group of people because that's not representative. They say to do random sampling, which is a sample that fairly represents a population because each member has an equal chance. So if you sent the survey to everyone in the school, you'd get more from the motivated, more maybe the students who wrote down stuff, or maybe you get it from just the seniors because they're more prone to do stuff. I don't know. So they say to actually do this by generate a list and use a number generator and to just send it out to those people because then it's more based on a fair representative sample. Okay, so copy these questions down, pause it, take a look at them, and we'll kind of go through the answers. So Miss Gavin wants to know her student's favorite food. Which one would I do? I'd do a survey. You get a ton of information at once. Okay. Eastside in high school wants to see if access changes students' behavior. Best one would probably be a case study. So you're looking at that specific school and whether or not access works. Then the last one, a principal wants to see if a new student is fitting into lunch with its peers. Go down to the lunchroom, take an observation. So this is the first part of research methods. I'm going to stop here. There will be a second video that is going through experiments and correlations, which I would highly recommend you take a look at.